To some people, language is just what our voice box does, but it's so much more. It's our eyes glowing, our smile shining, our eyebrows bouncing, it's our tone, our posture, it's what we feel, it's what's inside, it's our identity. Understanding language is not just a sequence of words. Non-verbal communication and cultural nuances are as important in obtaining the true idea of language and its relationship with emotion and connection. By understanding cultural values, attitudes, and expressions, we find what language does to help us recognize those cultural nuances entwined within that culture. And also by reviewing the effect that emotion does to language, by actually removing it, we see that language is very different. And then when we finally analyze language, we find that it furthers our understanding of emotion and connection. By focusing on the castle's Daryl Kerrigan and the pedestrian's Leonard Mead and their mannerisms and language, we will further our education on what language really is and its relationship with emotion and human connection. The representation of culture in both texts can also be compared to cultural normal life. To some people, culture is only a group of people that have a similar common interest, but it's so much more. We're all a part of a culture, whether it's your age group, nationality, sex, hobbies, school, profession. These are all different cultures that we're put a part of in. By being a part of these cultures, we learn more about language, and by using language to communicate, we see actual human connection. Let's look at the castle's Daryl Kerrigan. One of the most repeated quotes from the film is when his daughter gifts him with a tacky letter opener. His line of, "This is going straight to the pool room," whilst in a medium shot surrounded by his family, shows us the culture. The camera here lets us see the proximity of the family and their obvious physical connection to each other, but we also can see their body language and facial expressions, which long shots just never do. The significance of the pool room may not be understood by a lot of people, but the Australian audience can see that when Daryl Kerrigan wants to put something in the pool room, he must cherish not only the object itself, but also the memories surrounding it. If we compare this to Bradbury's Pedestrian, through the eyes of Leonard Mead, when he says, "The tombs, ill-lit by television light, where the people sat like the dead, the grey or multicoloured lights shining on their faces, but never really touching them." We see that Leonard's culture reminds us of a grandparent and an older figure being very judgmental with his use of a metaphor to describe a society lacking human connection. The society seems so bleak and boring and makes us, as the audience, see the true value of being part of a culture, and belonging to a culture how it gives humans fulfillment. And language can create these genuine human connections. Language can also be linked with emotion. Now, when we speak, it's not just our words that convey emotion, but it's also our body. It's the way we talk. When we speak to friends and family, we speak with love and appreciation. When we talk to teachers or a boss, we speak professionally, we speak with confidence. But what does the removal of emotion do to language? And what does that effect have? The faceless character of Airlink in The Castle shows us that the audience what a real lack of emotion really does. In multiple scenes where it seems like it's Daryl versus Goliath, we see that how it's Daryl compared to a large corporation. Scenes like the evaluation of the house or the first of many court scenes where we can see Daryl is physically lower in the shot compared to the judge instantly shows us how out of place he really is. Later in the movie, we see an interaction between Dennis and the lawyer from Barlow Group, where before the lawyer even speaks, we know he represents the antagonist. His facial expressions of evil and deceit, his dark change in tone to increase suspense, his relaxed body language makes us see him as a confident antagonist. The lawyer, being the symbol of the faceless Barlow Group, shows us what a lack of care for emotion is made, and the audience really sees what that looks like. Similarly, the robotic police car in The Pedestrian also shows no emotion when speaking to Leonard. The car questions Leonard by saying, "Walking? Just walking." And Leonard responds with, "Yes, sir." And then, "Walking? Walking where? For what?" Leonard responds again with, "Walking for air, walking to sea."
The questioning of why Leonard is walking shows us that the robotic car doesn't comprehend his actions. The withdrawal of emotion the car has and how it is juxtaposed with Leonard symbolizes the bleakness of the society Leonard is part of. This bleakness makes us feel empathetic towards him, and how empty Leonard must feel and how he is searching for something or anything with life.
With both characters, we consider what emotion does to our words when we speak, and how it is by verbal and non-verbal language. It impacts how we talk, our tone, our body language, and all other aspects of language. Language isn't just what we say, it's the way we speak, the way we move when we do. It invites the audience to show us their emotion and makes them perceive us in a specific way. The combination of both creating a human connection while also enticing emotion is a powerful tool. It creates movements and speeches that inspire the world. It's how we learn and teach. It's what differentiates us with language. In the castle, we see one of the most memorable and repeated quotes is, "A man's home is his castle." And the first time it is mentioned, we already know that Daryl is a loving character and we are endearing to. This, though, in the court scene, we see Daryl incredibly distraught. This repeated idiom would mean nothing if we already felt a connection to Daryl. Because we could see his undesirable love, we automatically know that he is thinking and he feels that he says, "A man's home is a castle." It doesn't just mean that a big house has big stone walls. It's just the memories and the human connections created inside his sacred place that are more important to him. In the pedestrian, we see Leonard at the beginning of the story, whilst walking, saying, "Hello in there." He whispered to every house on every side as he moved, "What's up tonight?" on Channel 4, Channel 7, Channel 9. Where are the cowboys rushing? And do I see the United States cavalry over the next hill to rescue? We picture Leonard peeking through a window like he's a soulless character of his society, but this illusion also shows us how alone he is, how alone he really is. Even in his lonely world, he could still crack jokes, and he still sees the world for the beauty and what it gives and not what we take from it. His language also allows him to stay grounded and not catch up with the technological boost his society has had. We feel connected to the world that, living in the 21st century, we can imagine what his bleak and dark society looks like and how empathetic we feel that he is stuck in that time. Leonard he makes us feel for him without having to know who he really is. By not knowing who he is and by seeing a character we really love, distraught like Daryl as well, we feel empathetic and an emotion towards those characters specifically. Our language, no matter your country or origin, our mannerisms or way you speak, allows human to convey emotion properly, and it creates genuine human connections. In truth, language justifies why humans are so empathetic, whether through words or nonverbal language or cultural nuances. Thank you.